Hello guys, bersama saya lagi dalam ORAITNOPO channel terbaik ya. Sekali lagi adalah sidang media ya, pencerahan daripada Menteri MITI iaitu Tengku Zafrul ya, berkaitan dengan pelancaran yang baru saja dilakukan oleh Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim ya, dalam satu inisiatif iaitu pelancaran PELAN INDUK Perindustrian BAHARU 2030. Jadi menarik ya untuk kita dengar sendiri pencerahan daripada Menteri yang bertanggungjawab dalam perkara ini. Jadi tanpa buang masa, saya membawakan saudara-saudari semua untuk mendengar ya apakah perkara ini sebenarnya seperti mana yang dinyatakan oleh Tengku Zafrul, sahabat-sahabat semua. Jadi tanpa buang masa, mari kita dengar sendiri ya apakah pencerahan, apakah perkara ini yang baru saja dilancarkan oleh Perdana Menteri kita, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim.
Okey, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Yang berhormat Yu Sintong, KSU, Datuk Seri Syam, Timbalan KSU, Cik Airil. Pertamanya saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua hadir daripada media, dan seperti yang disebut dalam ucapan Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri tadi, ini adalah pelancaran National Industrial Master Plan 2030, dan kita telah memberi fokus kepada mission based approach, dan saya nak buka lah soalan. Kita terus to Q&A lah. We open to the floor for Q&A. I think it's better. Semua.
Joseph from SMP here. Just want to get
From where? Sorry?
Joseph.
Oh, South China. South China.
Just want to get a little bit more insight on the investment strategy under the NIMP. So, is the government maybe considering maybe a more liberalized approach to attracting investment? So I'm asking because of the entry of Tesla and Starlink came in, they had 0 local partners and they were allowed to set up shop, which is a bit uncommon in Malaysia. So is that direction that the country is going towards?
Yep. Well, the country is going towards a liberal approach in terms of policy, as long as it brings this positive spillover effect to the economy and to the people. So when we make a policy, especially at MITI, what we want to see is that it ends up with benefits to the companies, local companies, especially the SMEs, in terms of the supply chain. And as per what we said in the NIMP, we hope that we can elevate the status of our SMEs so that they can also be part of the global supply chain. And then, and at the same time, of course, as what Prime Minister has said just now, we are also going to look at targeting our household income to go up higher. The average wage also will be going up higher than what we have today. So in terms of policies, we are willing to relook at policies that are progressive and that will result in the positive spillover effect to the people and to the Malaysian companies. Boleh ke? Tak, masa meeting ada dengung tu. Boleh. Tak apa. Tak payah kan? Susah nanti kan? I'll try and speak louder. Tak boleh tangkap ni. Okey, soalan lain?
Okey, 10% akan ditanggungkan dengan ada dalam ni katakan 95 bilion dalam tempoh 7 tahun, di mana majoriti predominantly akan ditanggung oleh swasta, tapi kerajaan 10% ni adakah perincian atau akan disebut dalam belanjawan tadi?
Ya. Ada yang disebut tadi, betul, hampir 10% adalah peruntukan daripada kerajaan dari segi fiskal space kita lah, terutama daripada pelancaran pembangunan. Detailnya setengah tu akan diumumkan semasa pelancaran 2024, dan setengahnya sudah ada yang sudah diperuntukkan sebelum ini, yang kita akan beri pencerahan dalam masa terdekat ini.
So how does the private sector feel about this 95 billion? It's through the instruments such as equities and raising capital from there. So what is the feedback from the private?
So of course, the formulation of NIMP involved various negotiations, sessions of deliberations with at least 1,000 people, including obviously various stakeholders that are private sector, including private sector. The amount, the money that we're looking at, also look at the input from the private sector. And in this case, we have looked at both the capital market and the banks, both financial institution and the development financial institution, on how they can assist in this. It's very commercially driven, and as you know, private sector will look at the viability of those investment. Hence, this approach, mission-based approach, is also actually looking at the returns to the private sector. That's why we need to make it commercially viable, and then to make it more sustainable, to make it more inclusive as well.
So I suppose this would be GLICs listed on Bursa Malaysia, or? It
will be all, including the GLICs. I think you've seen one or two GLCs that went on stage as well, including Petronas, Perodua, that are going to be the champions, and also various private sector as well, which will definitely include capital investments on their part as well. Ada soalan lain? Kena bantu. Kalau tak ada, we can have another session. Dr. Sri Kesu nak pergi semayang.
Sorry, Dr. Sri, I mean, it is for a span of 7 years. But the 10% that the government will be putting as a contribution might be changing over the course, given the inflation rate is going to go up. There might be OPR hikes soon.
Well, again, it depends on the Ministry of Finance. Inflation rate today is below 3%. So I don't think it will be a big factor unless you are assuming inflation rate will be double digit. So what is important is to make sure, and in fact we have always said that, because when you look at it as a mission-based approach, it also means that it's agile and dynamic. It's not a static plan. Therefore, in relation to what you have asked about funding, so that also needs to be agile. And as you know, the global dynamics is changing so fast. The landscape is changing so fast. People are talking about minimum global tax now. They're asking what are the alternative incentives for developing economies. And today, when I just came back from the ASEAN Economic Summit meeting in Indonesia last week, and it shows that ASEAN as a region has been a strong beneficiary of the flows that's coming in. Based on UNCTAD number, UNCTAD, in 2022, FDI globally has gone down by close to 12%. However, in ASEAN, it has gone up by nearly 5%. And ASEAN as a bloc is showing the positive growth in terms of FDI because of the realignment of the global supply chain. So again, that we didn't forecast that 2 years ago. So what I'm trying to say here, maybe 2-3 years time, things may change again, and we need to make sure that any plan in today's world has to be a plan that is not static, but a dynamic plan, and agile will be important. But whatever you say about plans, I think the most important part, apart from the being dynamic and agile, is also ensuring the execution is done. So today, the Prime Minister also announced, apart from the Council, the NIMP Council that will be chaired by the Prime Minister, we also have a day-to-day delivery management unit that will look at the execution. And to be transparent and to be accountable, we've also decided that this DMU will periodically report to not just the internal stakeholders, but also the external stakeholders, that means the public, on the progress of the NIMP 2030 and various other initiatives as well.
That's just last one. What could be possibly...
Do you want to pray? I mean, also, of course. Yeah.
The challenges to this Grand Master Plan.
The challenge, as I said, is making sure that we are working as one. Working as one in meaning it's not just a whole of government approach. I think the government, in the preparation of this, have worked very closely together with the various ministries and agencies, but also working as one as a nation. It has to be a nation approach, including various other stakeholders. The private sector, of course, is one. The Rakyat itself, the NGOs, every other groups that have interest in ensuring Malaysia develop, to drive the Malaysian economy, must be part of this NIMP to make it a success.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
My name is Seiichi Oshima from GG Press, a Japanese news agency based in Kuala Lumpur. I have two questions. When will the first national NIMP 2030 Council will be convened? And the second question is about deregulation.
About
usually, deregulation.
deregulation.
Yeah, it's usually a very important element in increasing the substantial growth rate and changing, making the industry more vibrant in economy. And do you have any benchmark or plan or any mechanism in implementing this NIMP for deregulation?
So under MITI, the first question is we don't know yet when is the first meeting. We have to get the Prime Minister's time, but it will definitely be this year. Right. On the second question regarding the deregulation, etc. So to us, what's important is how competitive we are. Right. Under the economy Madani, we want to be the top 12 competitive nation in the world under the World Competitiveness Index under the IMD. So that's by 2030 in the next 10 years. But actually, Malaysia is today probably number 28. Right. Number 28. We've improved before from where we were. But we were actually top 10 before, right? In 2011, if I'm not mistaken, we were once number 10. And why is that? One of it is because of ease of doing business, and ease of doing business indirectly also relates to deregulation, right? Meaning less red tape. That's what you were implying. So we are now looking at that. Malaysian Productivity Corporation is tabling to cabinet ideas that we think will need, again, the whole of government approach to deregulate, to liberalize, to ease the pain points for investors, for companies, so that we can get back to where we were. You know, in 2011, as I said, we were actually top 10 in the world, and now we were. So NIMP is also looking at that. You know, apart from other, the formations, including decarbonization of our industry, etc. So we hope that in tandem with what MITI is doing, and in tandem with what Economy Madani wants to achieve, that being the top 12 world competitive country should be achievable and attainable if we start moving now. And of course, NIMP is one of the tools to achieve that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because of the interest in ASEAN, right? Where do you see comparing to Vietnam, Indonesia, and Singapore? Do you see the position of Malaysia?
Yeah, of course I'm biased, right? As a Malaysian Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, and my colleagues here are also similarly biased. But if you look at where we are today, I mentioned just now, ASEAN as a bloc definitely benefits from the flow that we are seeing today. So we are competing within our ASEAN nation, but I don't look at it as just competing, but actually we complement each other, right? Malaysia and Singapore, for example, we have our strength, and of course we have our weaknesses as well. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of flows that are coming to Malaysia because also of Singapore, and vice versa, right? Companies that are headquartered in Singapore, but they need to complement the business, they rebuild it here. Similarly, we are, in fact, I'm going to Jakarta right after this. We have our ASEAN Economic Ministers, meeting as well. And then the Prime Minister will be going on Monday. Again, we'll be discussing on how we, as a bloc, should work together to capitalize, opportunistic in a way, but leveraging the strength of one block to get more flows coming in. Because actually, when you get one, it complements each other. Because the supply chain could be, one part could be Indonesia, but one part could be Malaysia. But if there is no supply chain in Indonesia, they will never come to Malaysia. So similarly,
baik, itu dia sahabat semua, satu pencerahan dan juga kerjasama yang padu ya di antara semua kabinet, menteri-menteri, khususnya mereka yang terlibat di dalam inisiatif ini, sahabat semua. Jadi ini menunjukkan betapa kerajaan hari ini sebuah kerajaan yang mementingkan rakyat, mementingkan keutamaan untuk negara, membangunkan ekonomi negara, membangunkan dan juga meningkatkan pendapatan negara, sahabat-sahabat semua. Jadi kita melihat sendiri bagaimana setiap kabinet, setiap kementerian, menteri-menteri memberikan kerjasama padu di antara satu sama lain, ya, bukannya untuk mendapat jawatan semata-mata, untuk ditawarkan jawatan semata-mata seperti yang dilakukan oleh Perdana Menteri sebelum ini. Tapi akhirnya sahabat semua, inilah ya satu kerjasama erat yang rakyat Malaysia mahukan. Jadi terima kasih. Sampai di sini saja. Sekiranya Anda mau memberikan sebarang komen, Anda juga boleh berikan komen dalam ruangan komen. Tapi ingat, komen dengan cara berhemah, jangan menjadi seperti walan-walantit, lebay-lebay dan juga geng sapu bersih ya apabila memberikan komen penuh dengan hasutan, kebencian dan juga fitnah melampau. Sepertinya mereka tidak punya otak, mungkin karena otak mereka tertinggal di dasar Laut Cina Selatan. Jadi terima kasih, izinkan saya untuk mengundurkan diri dan seperti biasa, peribahasa mengatakan tapak kon kangkap, 2 ton keinginan. Dalam bahasa Melayu, tepuk dadah, tanya selera. Sekian saja daripada ORAITNOPO Channel, saya kita berjumpa lagi. Bye-bye.